Aloha, my name is Sarah Hunt, and I will be the host of this show called Better Government, a series that is focused on improving our quality of life through better government practices since we're all in this together. Joining us today, we have Representative Jean Ward and Representative Barbara Marumoto. Representatives, thank you for taking the time and joining us today.
Thank you for inviting us for Better Government.
We're always interested in talking about how to improve the life of people who live in Hawaii.
Wonderful. Well, today, first of all, before we even get into anything, I'd just like to say thank you so much for all of your courage in the 2009 legislative session. We definitely finished off strong, and we're really able to get the Republican voices behind the state legislature. And for all of you that don't know, we have a 90% Democrat state legislature. That means without these courageous Republicans, we would not be able to get our bills passed, or we would not be able to have checks and balances. We would not be able to have accountability at the Hawaii State Legislature. So their job is so important in making sure that we have transparency for you, the public viewer, and the constituent.
The other side of the story. That's why we're here, to give the other side of some of the things that may have been in the media, some of the things that may have been in the talk shows, and there's always another side of the story. So thank you for the check and balance issue that sometimes people don't realize or forget. We have a one-party state, a system of basically one party. Fortunately, we have the governor on the 5th floor, but 90-10 is pretty imbalanced. The check and balance is listing to the left.
Well, as you would say, as the good state representative from Hawaii Kai would say, it is not the quantity, but it is rather the quality.
Amen.
So,
well, although we didn't win any votes, we certainly voiced the minority opinion, and we brought out flaws in the bills, and they made the majority made several changes in the bills to avoid criticism from the minority.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right into it and start discussing some of the bills that passed the Hawaii State Legislature in this session, as well as bills that might have been good bills that didn't pass this Hawaii State Legislature session. Actually, there was a bill, it's 1747, relating to the income tax, which was one of the measures that the Hawaii State Legislature overrode the governor's veto on. Now, this would increase your taxes from 8.5% to up to 11% for single taxpayers who make $150,000 a year, heads of households who earn $225,000 a year or more, and couples who make $300,000 a year or more. Now, as you all notice, we did have a huge turnout for the Hawaii Tax Day Tea Party that took place on the 15th. We had almost 2,000 people come out to the Hawaii State Legislature to voice their opposition against the tax measures that were looming at the Hawaii State Capitol. Now, even though we had vetoes, the governor did veto some of the very important tax increases that would affect your quality of life. We had a special session where the Hawaii State Legislature overrode these vetoes. So unfortunately, they did pass. And I would just like to ask you, representatives, if you could please explain to the public how these would affect our quality of life.
Yeah, well, before we get into the vetoes and the overrides, let me just say that the bill that would increase income tax and raise the rate to 11%, some people may say that's a tax on the rich, but what it really does is it prevents a lot of people from moving here or from investing here, and it hurts small businesses that also report as a personal income tax. So that is what really hurts, because when you increase the taxes on small businesses, you really lower their profitability, their job creativity. And so, and who gets fired first is probably the person on the lowest on the totem pole. And so we really should keep our taxes low to increase business activity and to increase prosperity for all concerned.
Sarah, that's exactly what this session should have been about: retaining and creating jobs. Not about increasing taxes, but retaining and creating jobs. It's all about jobs. When the people of Hawaii start losing their jobs, that's when things are going to get really tough. And the more that you tax, the higher probability is that you're going to lose jobs. Case in point, at the very beginning of the session, and that's why I'd like to format this tax discussion with what the governor said. The governor said, we can balance the budget with 1, no new taxes, and 2, without creating layoffs, cutting warm bodies, etc. To this day, she is stuck with that. However, the legislature did, number one, didn't believe it. Number two, would not give her the credit to say that we can not have to tax the people of Hawaii. Now, the veto overrides we're going to talk about basically flew in the face of that because they didn't believe it. And if you've seen the newspaper yesterday, there's another $40 million that just happened to pop up and get into the coffers by what the legislature didn't do in terms of taking the 9 cents that's now going to be added on to everybody's gallons of gasoline starting in July 1. So the price of gasoline just put in another $40 million. And my sense is if we would have given the governor a chance to do what she said she was going to do, we wouldn't have to be talking about these tax increases. We wouldn't have to be talking about our reasons why we voted to have the veto not overridden.
Well, basically, these taxes, our budget was really based on and balanced on the backs of several tax increases. And there's been more than the 4 that were vetoed and already overridden. But it was also based on a lot of special fund raids and a lot of programs moving from the general fund to the special fund. So although the majority was boasting that they cut the general fund $800 million, in many cases they simply moved these to special fund expenditures. It was also balanced on the back of federal funds, the federal stimulus funds. We got maybe over $900 million from the federal government. So we're very precariously balanced, and as soon as our tax revenues go down even further, then we are out of kilter again. We have so many financial problems that even this fiscal year, before July 1st, before the next fiscal year, we will, the governor will have to find $90 million because we're short that much. She will have to restrict departmental funds and restrict money from going out. So it's a precarious situation, and I see dark clouds on Hawaii's horizon.
You know, and I think you really hit it on the head, Representative Marumoto. I think you really definitely touched on the point that's really important for us to convey to the viewer, that these are taxes that are not just they're not taxes on the rich, they're taxes on people who are having to lose their jobs because these taxes are being increased on them, and unfortunately the employer does have to let someone go at the end of the day. And just like business, that's how government should run. Unfortunately, we're sitting here in expanding government, or we're sitting here in increasing taxes, when this is really the perfect time to cut as much government out of our lives and as much regulation out of our lives as we can. We chose to increase taxes on the off the backs of the hardworking citizens, and those are the people that give us the money to have our jobs.
I'm mostly concerned about the tourist tax, which is a tax on hotel rooms. And it's going to go up 1%, to 8.25% next year, and then the year after it'll go up 2% to 9.25. This is a big tax. They also pay the excise tax, general excise tax, which is 4.5% on Oahu. So a large part of the hotel room fee is taxes, and people sign up on Orbitz or one of these websites, and they could see the tax. And we're competing against Mexico and Southeast Asia and on the Caribbean, so it doesn't make us very competitive.